And your name is? I'm Thor. You're Thor? Well, it hurts.
We're back again. We're back again. We're back again on another episode of
Get.
And on this episode of Get Real, we're gonna talk about another movie because there's. Well, you know, I mean, we've been doing this show for 2 years now. Something's got to give.
You left me hanging.
Something's got to give, and I, you know, if I have to say, fuck off. I just.
Kids, get your popcorn now. Let me tell you the story of the space Viking, Thor Odinson. He was no ordinary man. He was a god. After saving planet Earth for the 500th time, Thor set off on a new journey. Well, he got in shape. He went from dad bod to god bod. And after all that, he reclaimed his title as the one and only Thor. Oh, spoke too soon.
This is slowly but surely turning into the Get Real channel.
Boys, we keep going to see movies.
I know. Here's the thing, okay? 2 years ago, when I first started Get Real, this was the only show on this channel, because it was the Hot Toddy Tube, and I would just post up segments of Smells Like 90s Rock or the Smoking Hot Toddcast or whatever. And then I started Get Real because I was bored out of my mind with the pandemic. So I started watching movies at home and reviewing them. And then when we started Superfuzz, obviously Get Real transferred over onto Superfuzz Productions.
Right.
But I didn't expect us to see as many movies as we've ended up doing this year. Like last year, even though there were some good movies that came out, there still weren't a lot of big movies.
This has really been
the first summer.
The first year back since COVID for movies.
Since COVID,
and
yeah.
Boy, because there's another one coming, because we have to go see Minions.
Oh,
and we will be.
Are we going to review that one too?
Bitch, are you for real?
I'm sorry.
Excuse me over there. Did he just ask me that? Excuse me over there. Did he just ask me that?
There's nobody on either side.
Fuck you.
Stop it!
Love Minions.
Yeah.
The Rise of Gru is this one coming out. Of course we were going to review it. Of course. We review all the movies you like.
Well, that's me. I like my this is my channel, so. Was it our channel?
Yeah. 2 people doing stuff.
Bullshit.
So Thor! We just got done seeing Thor Love and Thunder. And you know what's interesting about this movie is we saw it.
Yeah.
And when we saw it, we agreed that it was a decent film.
I thought it was a little bit more than decent, but
it was a good film.
I got outnumbered.
But then as the days, because we saw this, what, 2 days ago now?
Yeah.
Over the last couple days, I've sat down and I thought about, my God, my Otis shirt looks very gruesome in the video. Then he looks very sinister. This is Otis Campbell from the Andy Griffith Show, but look how sinister he looks in the video. He looks fun in the mirror, but he looks very sinister on camera. That's fine, whatever, sorry. Anyway, I've had a couple days to sit and think about it, and I have come up with a list of things that actually bother me. So much so,
I wrote them down.
I put them down on paper. That's right. I went boomer style on this episode, and I put stuff down on paper. But we'll talk about my stuff here once we get into it. What did you think, Miss Pengrino, of Thor: Love and Thunder?
I loved it, but I love all the Thor movies.
And see, that's the way I went into this. Okay, continue. Go ahead. I got some things to say, but go ahead.
So I do think it was a movie who catered more to me-type people.
To me-type people?
Yes.
What the hell is even that?
People who are into comedies. People who are into action that's not that action-y.
See, this is where I want to jump in so bad, but I'm gonna let you have your say. I'm gonna let you have your say.
But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
You know, movies that are not that serious, like maybe a little out of the comic context. Like I just could enjoy it A lot, like it. I mean, not that I didn't enjoy any of the other ones. I love all of them. It's not my favorite. I will say that, but I did think it was really good.
Okay, and see, you said you like comedy, and here's the thing with this is my first complaint about Thor: Love and Thunder is that the director, and I can never remember his name. It's hard to pronounce, but he's the same guy. He played the bad guy in Free Guy. Remember him, like the computer guy that was the bad guy in that movie.
Oh yeah.
He's an Academy Award-winning director, and he's directed some great films. And he directed Ragnarok and Love and Thunder, and he also plays Korg, the Rock Man. Is that how you say his name? Korg?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He's also the Rock Man in that movie. But this is one of the things I wrote down here is the movie tries to be like Ragnarok, but fails. Okay, it's just not. Ragnarok sort of revived. And that's the thing, you said you love all the Thor movies. I didn't. I hated the Thor movies. Thor, in my opinion, was the second most boring Avenger behind Captain America. The only reason why Thor, in my opinion, was interesting was because he was a space alien Avenger. And I thought, okay, that's kind of cool. And I didn't enjoy the first two Thor films. But then, remember, in 2017, when all the trailers came out for Ragnarok, it started out as this comedic, funny thing. I'm like, I don't remember Thor being like this.
I remember Thor being.
I was like, okay, this has got me interested. I want to go see Ragnarok, and we went to go see Ragnarok. One of my all-time favorite Marvel movies of the cinematic universe. Great film.
Yeah.
And this was clearly an attempt to try to do it again, and in my opinion, it fell flat.
The humor was a little bit more stupid, but it was still humor.
I said that Ragnarok sort of revived the character. It was a new take on an old favorite. It took the drab, serious nature out of the thing. But this was just a sole attempt to capitalize on that. And it was sort of like, okay, let's do like a Marvel film. Oh, remember, they expect humor in the Thor films now. Not to mention there's always a little humor in all the Marvel films. Insert joke, insert joke, insert joke. And at weird times. And it just seemed a little blah.
Forced.
It was very forced. That's exactly. That's a great word, Miss Pengrino. It was forced. So I guess I should say, like, here's the thing. It was fine film. It's one of those films where it's one of those films where it's enjoyable because it's a familiar brand. It's a familiar franchise. You know what's going on. This isn't like a new Marvel character that you have to get invested in and learn all the background. We know Thor. We know what's up with Thor. So it was nice. So I think they kind of took that and ran with it. Was that everybody knows Thor. Let's just go out there and have some fun. Where that worked in Ragnarok, it didn't really work here. Your thoughts?
Well, we're waiting.
I think it was a little bit more stupid
That shit was ass.
My brain was trying to think of what it wanted to say, and
do you need to say it to Thor, to his face?
Hi, Thor.
Yeah.
Beep, boop,
You get to see some Thor butt though in the movie for a second. You get that for a second.
Shame we didn't get to see more than that.
No.
It was kind of a stupid good, but I like those kind of movies.
I guess. I like stupid movies too. We were talking about some of my all-time favorite movies the other day. We talked about Mouse Hunt. Remember that movie with Nathan Lane?
Pretty bad.
It's a dumb movie, but I love that movie so much. I also love the Steve Carell Get Smart movie that came out.
Oh, I like that one too.
That's a great film.
Every time.
Dumb and Dumber. I mean, it's a classic comedy, but it's such a dumb movie. But I have Dumb and Dumber Funkos on the other side of this camera.
Yes,
I love dumb movies, but the thing about it is those were designed to be dumb. This is supposed to be a superhero film, and even though I do appreciate that they didn't take us down the drab, dark, like DC level of darkness, or the more sad, somber of like Black Widow and stuff like that. Like, I'm glad they didn't take us down that path, but it just seemed like a cash-in on what they did before. And Ragnarok worked, but Love and Thunder did not, in that respect.
For you.
And that's what I felt like, anyway. I will say one of the and I wrote it down. I wanted to make sure one of the biggest highlights of the film, the highlight, is Christian Bale as Gore, the bad guy in the movie. Loved.
Is that really Christian Bale?
You didn't know that was Christian Bale?
I did not know that was Christian Bale.
And you call yourself a movie reviewer.
Who am I? What am I?
How could you?
I mean, he don't look anything like him.
No, he doesn't. That was the beauty of it. They made him look like this vicious monster.
Also, did you know that the little girl, that's Thor's girl?
That's his daughter?
That's Chris Hemsworth's daughter.
I see. I didn't know that.
See, I didn't either, but I
All
saw
right.
like a little clip, and I was like, oh my god, that makes that even better for me.
It does. That makes it a heartwarming scene.
Ah.
So it's a whole thing, but Christian Bale's performance was great. I thought he had some real great acting chops and what was, again, sort of a laid-back, let's just have some fun, do a movie for over the weekend type of thing. And that's kind of where it's at. So he was great. But then there's some really odd choices with the film, and I need to get into this, Mr. Pengrino. I need to get into this, Mr. Pengrino.
Stop it!
There's going to be a few spoilers ahead. Nothing major, but there's some things that I wanted to talk about, so spoiler ahead. In the first scene of the movie, Gore is seen suffering in the desert, and sadly his daughter eventually dies. It's him and his daughter, and his daughter dies. Right after that, magically, there's an oasis that just pops up out of nowhere. What? And I thought at first it was a mirage.
I did too.
But then, no, he goes in there and he finds his god, the god that he worships. And the god's being a dick to him and is like, oh, you should have been like, he was like, why didn't you protect me, God? And he's like, screw you, I don't give a crap.
Because we don't protect people. We just make you worship us.
There's a sword. If you remember, there is a scene where, in that scene, there was a guy that had the sword that kills all the gods.
The Punisher.
The Punisher. And they killed the Punisher. The sword is laying right there. And then the god decides to piss off one of his disciples with the sword laying right there. So Gore kills his god with the sword that can kill all the gods.
Yeah.
Why though? Why did that happen? I sat there and thought about it. I was like, wait, what?
I mean, it had just happened. They had just...
Don't try to make it make sense.
They had just
Don't make it make sense.
Him, the God Punisher.
What? Say it.
You know, I guess maybe they thought like, oh, mere mortal, because he did have to say that the sword chose him. So I guess they thought, you know.
But the sword is the sword that kills God. So if you see, if the sword senses that somebody is being bullied by a god, it's going to choose that person.
I don't think necessarily.
It bothers me, and that's not the only thing. Thor. Here's another problem. Thor's hammer. It gets destroyed by not Christian Bale, Mr. Christian Bale. Kate Blanchett's character in Ragnarok, right? Mm-hmm. And it's out of the game. It's done. You think, oh, the Thor hammer is destroyed forever. So much so that they put it on display at New Asgard in this new film.
Yes.
But then it immediately comes back together for Jane Foster. So Thor's hammer can come back to life at any time, just whenever it wants to. So why didn't it come back to life after it broke apart in Ragnarok? Or better yet, how about come back together during Infinity War and Endgame when Thanos was destroying the galaxy? Why didn't Thor's hammer come back to life then? Why?
So he asked Minwar.
I think I don't really know how to. This is why I call it Thor's hammer.
Thor asked the hammer to protect Jane.
Yeah.
So when it saw Jane sick, it came back together to protect her.
Yeah, but like again, okay, and I admire that idea. That's great, and I think that is how it worked in the comics. I don't know the comics. So if there's any comic book nerds who are watching this and they think, Hot Toddy, this is all explained in the comic, I didn't read the comics. I'm just going by the movie because that's what we do here. We don't review comics, we review movies. And so the movie doesn't make a lot of sense, in my opinion. And I knew you were probably going to go down that route, that it chose Jane Foster and came back. But if it comes back willy-nilly like that, if it's just able to come back, Why didn't it come back for Endgame? Why didn't it, or Infinity War? Why didn't it stop Thanos from killing? Why didn't it stop freaking Iron Man from dying at the end of the movie? Why didn't it come back and since Doctor Strange's involvement in the multiverse and attack Wanda? Why does it just now choosing Jane Foster over all the other atrocities that have happened over the last 5-6 years?
Maybe the others weren't worthy.
Bullshit.
This is what I'm talking about. These are the plot holes that make this movie kind of meh. Also, and of course, so spoiler, of course, Jane Foster. Did you get paper? don't come at me when I'm doing spoiler with the paper because it's gonna hurt you. I'm all over the place tonight. I really am. I'm just.
You've lost your shit.
Okay, so again, in the comics, but here's the thing. So Jane Foster becomes the mighty Thor. You know that from the trailers. That's not really a big thing. And you also know she's dying from cancer. That's her story arc, is her character is dying from cancer. In the comics, when she becomes mighty Thor, it stops the cancer. It stops the cancer. Only if she was to lose her power would she get the cancer back and die. They changed it in Thor: Love and Thunder. It progresses her cancer at a mighty rate.
No, it didn't progress it.
Oh God, explain to me, Ms. McQueen.
It didn't progress it. It
Please.
stopped her body from fighting it, and she was in stage 4, so of course it was already aggressive. It didn't enhance it. It stopped her body from fighting it. And when she had the hammer, she was cured. As soon as she dropped the hammer, she was back to herself.
But.
Hercules.
The point I'm trying to make is this is a world where magical gods and aliens and magical hammers and axes exist. Why can't it just stop the cancer? It does in the comics. I've written it down. I've written it on paper so you know it's true. So why didn't it cure her cancer?
I don't think it did cure her cancer.
It stopped her cancer while she has. Yes, it does. It stops her cancer. Sound off in the. You won't. But sound off in the comments. It stops her cancer and she's fine. But in the movie,
it stops it when she has the hammer. When she drops the hammer, she loses the powers. Therefore, cancer comes back. She would literally have to hold the hand.
But Thor even says, "Don't pick up the hammer anymore."
Right, because it's keeping her natural body from fighting the natural cancer.
You just have an answer for everything, don't you?
Surprise, motherfucker.
You just
pay attention to the damn movie.
No, you just have an answer for everything. All these inconsistencies and plot holes, you're just like, bang, 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 bang. Here's why they are. Okay, well, how about this? The Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't in the movie more, and that really pissed me off. Because the trailers made you think that they were going to be in the movie, like it was going to be this fun adventure with Thor and the Guardians, and they were all going to kick ass together. And literally, right after the first scene you see them, they all depart. They all
really, because that's kind of what I thought was going to happen.
You thought they weren't going to fight together?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they were getting sick of him and they just wanted him gone. So they're like, all right.
Everybody, all the Avengers got sick of each other, but they still work together. That's the point.
But the Guardians of the Galaxy are a little different. Plus, they need their own movie. They couldn't have a Thor Adventure in Thor.
Thor Avenger?
Thor Adventure.
Oh, okay. I guess you're right. But I mean, it bummed me out because, in the last Thor film, you had the Incredible Hulk hanging around, having fun, doing his thing,
not excessively too.
And then, in Spider-Man No Way Home, you got Doctor Strange hanging around. So I just thought that in this movie, you'd have the Guardians of the Galaxy hanging around Thor during his big adventure of trying to save the galaxy again. And I was frankly disappointed when they do not come back. After that scene you see in the trailer, they do not come back. And it just kind of makes me upset because I love the Guardians.
They could have come back at the end. I will give you that.
Much more, yeah. I love the Guardians much more than Thor. Sorry, Thor, but it's true. I love the Guardians of the Galaxy lots more than I like you. So that was a bummer for me. I'm perturbed about the movie because there are many plot holes in the film. There are, and that kind of takes away the enjoyment of it a little bit. It was built up to be this big, exciting fourth film of Thor. It's going to be Thor, and you know, it just wasn't. It just kind of felt generic, and it didn't feel very fun. Didn't feel as fun as Ragnarok. That's what they were trying to do, and it wasn't as fun as Ragnarok. It just
For you.
How was it as fun for you? How was it Ragnarok level for you?
I always enjoyed Thor. I like that she came back.
Did you enjoy the first Thor and the Dark World, whatever it's called, the second film? You like those?
I like them. Ragnarok is my favorite.
Oh,
Love
yeah.
and Thunder is the second for me.
Man, see, I don't know.
Then the other two, they kind of, they're about the same.
They blend together.
Yeah.
This is what they are. And don't get me wrong, like, it's not the worst. It's not the worst. It's just, it's glaring in its issues. It's very, the nice thing about this one is I don't, well, there is a lot to unpack. Well, not really. No, there's not as much to unpack with this as there's been with like other Marvel movies. But there is a lot of the usual, we got to go to this place to get to this place to do that thing to do this thing.
That was awesome.
And so, you know, and even my dad walked this. I'm very confused. Once they change locations, I'm out.
They changed locations about 15 times.
Right.
So his dad was like straight up lost.
Exactly. So it was, so needless to say, it's a little meh in terms of that. But I mean, you know, again, if you love Marvel movies, you're almost obligated to go see it at this point. It's like Star Wars. Like Rise of Skywalker has glaring issues to the point where I've only seen Rise of Skywalker once, and I'm sure I'll see it again at some point. But it's not in my top 5 favorite of the Star Wars films.
Yeah.
It has glaring issues, but I went to see it and I own it out of support for Star Wars because I love Star Wars. Yeah, so you know, and that's the thing about Marvel movies. Like I do enjoy the Marvel films. I still enjoy the cinematic universe, but it's taken a step down a little bit since.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree that they are probably not over pushing all of the series.
This is Phase 4.
They're
and
really pushing because yes, spoiler alert here. They did set up for another one. Very clearly set up for another one.
And yeah,
and it's probably not necessary.
It's not. This is they're pushing it. Phase 4 has just been kind of bland. Although, you know, No Way Home, Spider-Man, was great because of all the member berries, because of all the things. That's a real thing, member berries.
I like it.
all the stuff that came out of it was great, but really, Endgame was really what it was. Endgame, it was sort of the end of Marvel, the cinematic universe that we knew, and it's kind of taken us into this odd direction where it's just kind of meh. And that's all the movies are kind of like meh. Like a lot of them just seem like they all run together because they're all basically the same. This one really didn't do that. It did have enough stuff to separate itself, but it had so many glaring issues that I can't fully get behind it. But that being said, if you're a Marvel fan like me, you're gonna go see it and you'll still get something out of it. I don't know what it is.
I mean, I do have to say, also being like one of the biggest blockbusters after COVID, it was still pretty damn good.
I mean, it's fallen in the right summer. It's come out in the right summer. Mm-hmm. If this had been next year, I think it probably would have flopped completely. It's not doing great right now. It's doing okay, but it probably wouldn't have done well at all if it had been like next summer. But because this is the first major summer blockbuster since the pandemic, I get it. You know,
yeah.
it's going to be okay.
Did you prefer Elvis over this?
Yes. Yes, okay. Elvis was better than this. Yes. But anyway, Miss Pengrino, would you recommend Love and Thunder, Thor: Love and Thunder?
I would.
Okay.
I would. I mean, even if you have to take it out of the Marvel Universe context to enjoy it, you know, even if with all the plot holes, I think it's still a good movie given, you know, coming back into movies. Like, I think it's a good comeback.
See, he looks happy when I come down here, and his face looks like that. He looks a lot happier. Then he looks scary. He looks like the penguin.
Would you recommend?
Again, if you're loyal to Marvel and you want to see the movies when they come out, and if you're just wanting to get out of the house, because again, we're still basically in a pandemic, but I mean, you know, you can go out and do things. Hey, go see Thor: Love and Thunder. But if you're looking for like a solid Marvel film, you're like, I want to see a good solid superhero movie. This is not it. This is not it. This is not it. I liked, you know, the Multiverse of Madness. I did like it, but
that was good.
It had its glaring flaws too. The last one I really liked was No Way Home, Spider-Man, but even before that, The Eternals, meh, you know. So, but meh. So that's my thought process. Go see it if you're just wanting a night out and you're okay with going to see this movie.
I mean, if you're a Marvel person,
if you're a big Marvel person and you want to continue, go see it. But as a movie, a standalone movie that you really want, no, I do not.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive.
And it's strong enough to pick up pancake.
Now,